This is the Defenders podcast on TV Podcast Industries. We're back with episode 2 of Hawkeye, Hide and Seek.
Wait a minute. Aren't you Hawkeye?
Look, I'm not trying to cause a scene here, all right? Out of respect, wherever the hell this is, but I'm plumb out of patience. So you got two choices, you understand? I could take this pretend sword, and you pretend to die, and I take that suit. Or I'm gonna real punch you, and you're gonna real fall down, and I'm gonna take that suit.
Welcome back, fellow Defenders, to our chat about Hawkeye, episode 2, Hide and Seek. I am one of your hosts, Derek.
Yes, welcome back, fellow Defenders. I am one of your other hosts, John.
Yes, we are in episode 2, Hide and Seek. Thank you so much. Welcome back if you just took a break and watched episode 2 and have decided to unpause this podcast. But we're going to go again spoiler filled in. Derek, do you want to tell us who gave us what on this episode with the details?
Absolutely. This episode was written by Elisa Clement. She's written for a number of shows over the years, including Sorry for Your Loss, which starred Elizabeth Olsen.
Ah, excellent.
Or Wanda Maximoff. And that show, Sorry for Your Loss, also featured episodes written by Hawkeye lead writer Jonathan Igla as well.
Ah, so they know each other well.
They certainly do, yes, absolutely. This episode, as I mentioned last time, is also directed by Rhys Thomas, who directed episode 1. John, do you want to give us the synopsis for Hawkeye, episode 2, Hide and Seek?
Sure. After the events of the night before, Kate Bishop takes Clint Barton back to her apartment, but she has left a trail to her own home which is attacked by the Tracksuit Mafia. The pair are forced to evacuate the apartment after a Molotov cocktail sets Kate's home on fire, which prevents them from taking the Ronin suit away from the scene of the fire. Trying to get off-grid, Kate takes them to her aunt's apartment where she can rest and patch up her battle scars. Meanwhile, Clint tries to recover the Ronin suit. While unsuccessful, he has a LARPer lead on where the Ronin suit may have gone. The next day, Clint returns to his hotel and sends his children back home, promising to return home by Christmas Day. He has 6 days and counting. With the kids on the plane, he escorts Kate to her mother's company, Bishop Securities, then heads over to Central Park for some Hey Nonny Nonny and live action role playing as he fights to the death a firefighter named Grill to recover the Ronin suit. With the suit in his possession, he looks to contact the Russian Mafia, believing he can sort out the mess created by Kate and be back in home in time for Christmas. Later that evening, during dinner, tensions rise as Kate tries to prove that Jack Duquesne was involved in Armand's death, but her mother Eleanor is unconvinced. So Kate decides to settle the matter by challenging Duquesne to a fencing duel, to prove he is a liar about his sword skills. She does, but her mother remains unconvinced. She leaves the apartment unsettled by an offer of an Armand III butterscotch from Jack, which convinces her further of his involvement in his uncle's murder. In the taxi home, she tries to contact Barton, not knowing that he has allowed himself to be captured by the Tracksuit Mafia. She tracks down Barton's location, but ends up being captured herself. As the pair are tied to fairground rides, the gang informs their boss, Maya Lopez, aka Echo, of Hawkeye and Kate Bishop's capture. Spoilers
for who that is at the end of the episode, John.
Well, I thought I might as well because I hadn't a clue when I saw it. They kind of like their Dr. Dre's, to be honest, sort of the beats. But, yeah, no, I had to sort of, I wasn't quite sure who it was, to be honest, when I first saw it through. And, although second time and having, looked it up, I guess the hand around the diaphragm of the speaker was, that was a nice little touch, I thought.
Oh, cute.
But yeah, I mean, initially I was actually thinking it was potentially Natasha's, sister. And I was just thinking, but it doesn't look like her.
Yeah.
So I was just, maybe she just changed her hair, you know, dyed it black now rather than being blonde, just because of the Russian mafia connection. So, it was a good surprise to have Echo again. You know, really giving that New York street level sort of baddie or antagonist here. Good stuff.
Yeah, we're getting closer and closer to getting Daredevil.
I know, exactly.
Slowly.
Which would be awesome.
Yes. I really enjoyed this episode, especially that ending. Just seeing Maya Lopez. I knew she was an upcoming figure. I know there's rumors that she has her own show in the works as well. Within Disney Plus. So we know that potentially she's going to be the kind of antagonist that becomes kind of grey area and morally ambiguous kind of, and then becomes a protagonist of her own show later. So it was interesting to see that. But overall, this episode was just fantastic kind of lead on from episode 1.
Absolutely. I'm glad they're released both in the same day, but they clearly weren't supposed to be, because they replayed the end of the first episode in the second one. It's not made as a movie, but it made sense because you release it just before Thanksgiving and hit Christmas if you do 2 in one day, and then 1 a week for the next 4 weeks. So very smart, but great to see the character right at the end of the episode. Obviously, we'll see much more of her next episode, because we saw for about 2.5 seconds on screen, and as John said, he had watched the episode before me and said, someone appears at the end. I don't know who it is, but it seems really exciting. So now he knows, and it is really exciting. A character created in the Daredevil comics, Echo.
Yes.
So we will learn more about it. We won't talk much about her in this episode here, but it was an interesting reveal anyway. Let's get into our top 3 arrow points for this episode. First up, let's talk about LARPing in a Ronin suit for our first arrow point for this episode. All kind of kicks off as Clint goes back to Kate's apartment and gets the full lowdown of what's happened, how she got the suit. I love that she just lays it on the line. I also love how it plays in the alleyway where he asks her all the question, and she is so overwhelmed by the fact that her hero, the one that inspired her to take up the bow and arrow, is standing in front of her that she can't even speak. And then when they get back to the apartment, eventually she starts being able to tell him everything that's happened. Yeah,
it's really a great opening. I loved just the whole pitter-patter between Clint and Kate, in this episode. And it's really, it just kicks off in this opening scene. I love the moment where, she's saying, I'm considered one of the world's greatest archers. And Clint just says, are you one of them? Yeah, move on kind of thing, It's just, the fact she wants him to sign her bow. It's just really, really good. It's almost, referencing the first episode's title, you should never meet your heroes. Yeah. I really just loved this whole pitter-patter between the two of them all the way through, the episode. So, at Kate's apartment as well, there's a bit of maybe disappointment from Kate's side as well with this whole thing where, with this fire that happens in Kate's apartment, she wouldn't be disappointed by the absolutely fantastic throwback of the Molotov cocktail. I loved that scene.
Was amazing.
That was proper kind of, senses of a ninja. It was really, really cool.
Just the fact that he had to smash the window before catching the Molotov and throwing it back at them was just a fantastically done shot.
Yeah, really nicely done. But I kind of like the post fire as well, where she goes, are we going back to your secret base? Are we going back to, the Avengers' secret hideout? And it's like, no, that's been decommissioned. Effectively, we're going to get you some rubbing alcohol, some bandages and so on. And she's kind of like, oh, okay. So it was going to be a bit more subterfuge and so on. And I really like that dynamic. I love that through this episode.
Absolutely. And he does point out something that I kind of forgot. Tony sold Avengers Tower in the center of New York, and the Avengers campus that was built outside of New York has been destroyed in the attack from that. Yeah. So there actually is no Avengers center point anymore at all. I kind of forgot about that until he put it in those plain words. No, Tony sold that a few years ago. I was like, oh yeah, there's no Avengers anything left.
Yeah. We don't even know if there is an Avengers left.
That is true.
Like, we don't know the current. This is the furthest into the MCU we've ever been.
There's no Tony Stark left.
Well, that is very true.
You know?
Spoilers for Endgame.
Tony Stark wasn't the Avengers.
Oh, he was.
No, he was a member of the Avengers.
True,
Nick Fury set it up.
Okay, let's not get into who made what with Avengers.
I thought you were going to say Captain America.
Members.
For me, this opening scene, and it just underpins the one-liners and the quick wit and of the writing staff here, and particularly of how it's delivered by the two main characters.
Mm-hmm.
It's so quick, it's so dry humor, and it is like an arrow. Blink and you'll miss it. It kind of comedy. Like we didn't even call it out earlier. In the Rogers the musical, the urinal, the graffiti. Thanos was right.
Yeah.
Again,
that's
like
true.
it was just that blink, very quick. Ha, that was a good one, and then you move on. It's this very sharp wit, and we see it from both of them. Like it's her trying to be Clint, and then like the example you gave, which is I'm considered to be one of the best archers.
Exactly.
Are you one of those people? Like it's just again, and then it's just gone. Like if you don't kind of chuckle there, you're moving on.
Yeah, it's almost as well that same dynamic like in Up with the old guy and the kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, not quite the same age gap, but it's just that slightly skeptical view of the world or what she's doing from Clint as well. You know, when did everyone start saying "I love you" all the time when she's on the phone to her mum? You know, it's just that it's that real kind of weariness about some of the things, and the dynamic is really good like that.
Absolutely. Just even the idea that it's a 22-year-old running around in his ninja costume, as he's calling it, being a vigilante, you know, it's like, oh, what have I got to put up with? And Kate Bishop running upstairs going, oh my God, Hawkeye's in my apartment. He's in my apartment. He's actually here. And then runs upstairs, grabs the bow for him to sign. You know, she's totally fangirling over Hawkeye being there. I also loved a good comedy touch as well. We talked about, Clint throwing the Molotov back, but I love that Kate tries to show off how great she is with a bow. She does a great shot on a Molotov outside.
Yes.
And then it's the fire extinguisher, which bounces off everything in the room, and you think, wow, there's going to be a cool comic book moment, but it bounces out the window and lands in the street, covering the street and stuff. It feels like, wow, she's going to put out the fire with a bow. That's awesome. Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah.
Nice little comedy moment.
And that's what I enjoy. So, like, and I'm going to put it out now, like, we're getting a nice mix of action, a nice mix of kind of family drama to a degree, buddy cop. Let's call it a buddy cop at this point. And then you get this comedic kind of quick one-liners and kind of scenarios, like you said, with the fire extinguisher.
There's even the bit with when are we getting the special arrows as well? You know,
the trick arrows.
Yeah, the trick arrows is like really good.
There are no things as trick arrows. But for me, I'm glad they put the story of the Ronin suit to bed by the end of this, or by actually midpoint of this, because it was like I wanted to see where it was going next, and if it was just going to be 6 episodes of them chasing the Ronin suit and getting into hijinks, I was like, all right, I'm here for it, but I'm not gonna, like, I'm in the car, I'm going to the destination, but like I'm not gonna enjoy the view.
Yeah, in all honesty, it felt like it got really quite serious by the end with Echo. She looked like no messing.
Because when he goes back to the apartment and the suit's gone. By the way, again, seeing Clint weave his way up, you reminded he is a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, because he's in, he's up, the jacket's on, everything's done. And then he gets up to the top there, no suit, comes back down, sees the NYC LARP Association, and I was like, oh, they're going this route. Okay, let's see. And he goes to the the New York City Central Park and for the LARPing session that day until midnight.
Yeah.
So, 2 quick things on this. I'm glad they didn't make fun of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think, look, LARPing is, it's real live action D&D essentially. Dungeons and Dragons, for anyone who doesn't know what D&D is. And it's essentially that. You're just role-playing a fantasy world, a character that you've created. Yeah. And I personally never done it. I do Dungeons and Dragons. But it's a fun thing. It's just like basically it's a real-life video game. So many other movies, TV shows use role-playing nerd kind of geek culture as a punchline. Yeah. Much to Derek's chagrin, look at Big Bang Theory. I
will never look at Big Bang
exactly,
Theory, and thankfully it's over and been cancelled now, so it's great.
It's true, but they played this with a lot of respect. Like it was fun. He could have gone in, as he said, this is going to end 2 ways when he meets the guy in the Ronin suit. Yeah. It's like, I can pretend to kill you and you can give me the suit, or you can try and hit me with that sword. I punch you and take the suit. They played it well. They didn't
absolutely.
kind of make fun of it.
They did make fun of it, but they made fun of it on the sense of it was an outsider who doesn't
Yes, that is exactly.
do LARPing, who just didn't get it. Who, as he said, I mean, he goes, when he did a trial by combat, he goes, I fought Thanos. I thought this was hilarious, and I don't think but I agree with you. It wasn't disrespectful towards it.
That's probably the better way of putting it.
It was the contrast of someone that doesn't do it with the people that are really into it. Yeah. And he just doesn't get it. But in the end, he actually does mellow, because Grill is kind of like, oh, come on, man, please just do this. Because he is human and he's not disrespecting it. He's just doesn't get it. And then in the end, he's like, he gives Grill his moment of ultimate power, in the trial by combat. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was fabulous. This whole thing, the slow-mo, even the little, the goodness where he says, and in fact I think he says something else, but they dubbed the slowed down goodness instead of goodness instead of which I thought was really good. That was a nice little touch.
I really like that slow-mo battle as well, because it is kind of saying this is Hawkeye. Like, he's fought with his weapons quite often. Like, he's done hand-to-hand combat with the bow on many occasions, and they have all these people attacking him. And when they get hit, they're just dropping to the floor. I know Clint was told he had one free hit. But he definitely gets hit about 5 or 6 times.
Oh, yeah.
On the way up there, and he's going, I don't care. I need to have a conversation with this
exactly.
guy. It was really good. And I do like, you're right, Chris. I like that it ends with him having a conversation with Grills, the guy who's taken the Ronin outfit. And Grill says to him, well, did you enjoy yourself? And Clint kind of responds saying, yeah, it was fine. And off he goes, and he gives Grills some extra respect, saying, call me Clint, so he's made a friend there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we have this member of the FDNY back in a later episode.
I hope so.
Yeah.
This is a New York firefighter. He could come in useful as the series goes on. So yeah, I don't think it's the last we'll see of Grills. And I think it was a really good, fun scene to put. It's always kind of the fish out of water thing. It's not just that Hawkeye fought Thanos. He's also in his 50s and not willing to put up with this stuff. He just wants a conversation with somebody that stole his suit and wants to get it back and deal with it in the episode the way it was done.
It's effectively the brother to when did everyone start saying I love you loads of times on the phone. It's just really great. And again, Jeremy Renner is a star.
He's doing it really well. Really well. But interestingly, when he gets the suit back, you see him going and stashing it in a New York gym locker. No specific special place. This was literally a locker in a gym in New York. There doesn't seem to be any particular connection with anything. And I know we had that conversation. That's what Kate was saying. Is there no, Avengers place left in New York where I can go into the safe house kind of thing? But I just thought it was interesting that it seems like a regular gym locker. I know the lock itself that he puts on the door is his own lock that he brings with him, but it's an odd moment that he hasn't got somewhere at all to stash stuff in New York.
So I thought the same thing, and then we do know that there has been loads of different drop zones, safe houses for shields and shield agents and things like that. From Black Widow to even kind of similar things kind of are mentioned in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Well, maybe it's one of those, yeah.
So I think like it could be like on the facade, it's a gym, and for everything else, it's fine, but it's actually well monitored kind of gym, but it just he puts on a lock. Yeah. Or kind of hiding it in plain sight is usually a good thing as well. He just has to pay his fee in the membership. That's all.
Exactly. Could just be that. But I also love the conversation that he has with his wife Laura here on the phone, because I love that it's a coded conversation. Remember, everybody in the Avengers was surprised that Clint was married and had kids. Yeah. And his kids were reasonably old when we met them for the first time in Avengers Age of Ultron. But Laura's had to deal with this her whole relationship really with Clint. So I love that there's this kind of coded conversation of how long is it going to take? I know that you have missions sometimes that you have to do. I know you're in the life here. You need to deal with this issue and then come back home. You know, I love that she's fully on board with what he needs to do, because she absolutely knows he wouldn't put this before his kids if it wasn't massively important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just a little bit of their relationship again.
The other thing that I kept thinking in my mind was Shaun of the Dead, where they're in the Winchester bar and it's like, we'll have a couple of pints here and it'll all blow over, you know? And it's the same thing with Clint. It's like, it's only going to take me a day. You know, this isn't going to be anything too serious or too big. You know, I'll be back in a day. And I'm hoping that there is the running joke through the next few episodes where, it's going to take 2 days, and we're going to still have the phone call with Laura where he's having to make the excuses whilst the kids are on the city watching the movie marathon or something like that. You know, we see them doing the gingerbread house building here. So I really I hope that is a running gag. I've set it up in my own head, so if we don't get it, I can just go in another reality, I guess, and laugh internally.
There you go. And another reality where there's an ongoing joke. But I like that Laura understands. It's not like the normal trope of this kind of stuff where he's hiding his secret identity from his partner and has to make up excuses. She knows, and she knows he would only put this up front if it was really important. So,
I thought that was really refreshing, actually. Yeah. I really enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
It's especially the catch and release. She goes, "What's your plan?" Catch and release. Oh, really? Okay. Like, he tells her his plan.
Yeah. Not only that,
she
actually says that's a Natasha move. You're going to use one of Natasha's moves. So she knows everything about their relationship, which is really good. I really like that. I think that's it for our arrow point number 1. Let's get on to arrow point number 2, because the other side of this coin really is Kate and what's going on with her and her family relationship in the episode. Just to kick it off, though, I like that we do have Clint bringing her to her mother's work, to Bishop Securities, where the company that her mother owns. And I like that we again see a bit of the Hawkeye agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Clint Barton here, where he basically takes about an extra hour to get her from her apartment to her mom's workplace because he's taking her down different alleys, making sure she's not being followed.
Yeah.
And that's a callback because the reason why the Tracksuit Mafia found her is because she went to her apartment and then back out on the street. So he's telling her, next time, if you're going to be followed, this is how you get rid of anybody that's following you. So he does teach her stuff there.
But he taught her one thing.
Yeah, exactly. How not to be trailed. And I kind of had a good idea about that anyway.
But she didn't. She says that, but she didn't have an idea. She was followed home by the Tracksuit Mafia.
But as I said,
and burnt down her house.
And how to stitch herself up properly.
Yeah.
Which was really good.
That's really
I did like her with the pizza on the head as well, to take the swelling down.
Yes, she's multitasking. She's also defrosting breakfast for the dog. Like that, really good. And then we also have the branding discussion with Hawkeye. And as you said, he's not really comfortable with the idea of people calling him hero, and not really comfortable with his brand, I suppose, as Kate will put it. I love that moment where we have all the people dressed up as superheroes in the street, including all of the Avengers and Katniss Everdeen, who Kate thinks could possibly be Hawkeye. Really like that. It's a good funny call out. But Kate just thinks that he's just not on the branding. He's someone that clearly inspired her and can be an inspiration to other people.
Yeah, you're too low key, which I like. He's a spy.
And then finally, in that moment, Clint leaving Kate behind and giving her the phone number, another little great bit of banter between the two of them where Kate's kind of going, "Oh, I'll give you a call later." He's like, "Please don't call me. It's for emergencies only. I will block and delete if I feel you're using the privilege." And then we get the kind of big battle, really, in the episode between Kate and Jack. It's kind of a battle of wills, to begin with.
Or wits, to a degree, at some point as well.
Yeah. I'm not too sure how much wit Jack has. I'm not too set on him. I know Kate's very intelligent, but I'm not too sure about Jack, in this episode, certainly. But I like that, she kind of interrogates him in the office, starting out with, she's obviously had a bit of psychology 101. She starts out with, apologizing to him and commiserating, to him about the loss of his uncle, and then goes in with the questions, because she's convinced. She's seen the dead body of Armand. She knows that this person has been stabbed. And how many people are going to use a sword in New York City to kill somebody is what she says to her mother later on. So she knows that Jack has a penchant for swords. So, why not probe him as much as possible?
Well, that's it. This brought me back to Eleanor again, because we knew they had financial troubles beforehand. There was this, it's all built on a lie from Armand. And I'm just wondering, is she marrying, Jacques to get part of the inheritance? I don't know, but I'm still there going, "Ooh, Eleanor, you crafty so-and-so." But it could all just be, Jacques Duquesne, for sure.
Could be. That's where everything's pointing right now.
Yeah, including the butterscotch toffees.
Well, yes, absolutely. I didn't know what the importance of those butterscotch toffees was at all.
No.
It was even included in the opening. And it was like, because Kate had said it, it just sounded like, wow, rich people and their monogrammed butterscotch toffees. Is that how rich you have to be to get your own monogrammed toffees? But it does make sense, later on in the episode when Armand pulls one out of his pocket and she'd just seen them in the bowl the previous night. So she knows he's probably been over at the house pretty recently.
But at the same point, he's the fifth. He's a Dumont. Of course he's going to be with his uncle's house.
They didn't seem to have that great a relationship, which is what she saw in the first episode. She saw they're kind of at each other's throats a bit.
Yeah.
So she's kind of piecing it all together, and that's what I'm kind of guessing from here. Again, not sure yet. I hope it's not as simple and straightforward as this. Oh, he killed his uncle. We knew that. I killed him with a sword. That's kind of it.
Or did the mum do it?
Exactly as John's been saying.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Or is that too simple? Is it, we're introduced to a new antagonist here. Maybe there's something there. She's one of the powerful friends that Armand was talking about.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
There's still plenty of options.
It's a terrible,
sure.
powerful friend of Armand's if she stabbed him and killed him.
Well, a backstabbing
I have very
friend.
powerful friends who might stab me. Please don't. Just one thing to mention that we kind of entered the money troubles of Eleanor. Really interesting. She's living in the same apartment in New York. So, that apartment was rebuilt after the attack in New York. It was a very expensive apartment, to begin with, because they were having money troubles back in 2012, but she's been able to hold on to it.
Yeah.
Just like her husband Derek had said, something did fall out of the sky that allowed them to keep the apartment, whether that was insurance money, from overall getting, New York restored, or maybe it was life insurance from her husband.
Or both.
Or both.
Or both. Might have needed both to be honest. It was a very expensive looking apartment.
Is she trying it all over again with Jack?
Oh, maybe.
Who knows?
Maybe.
Oh.
She's another type of Black Widow.
Yeah, could be a con.
Yeah, could be. What did you think of the fencing fight between Jacques and Kate?
I loved it. I thought it was really good. And I loved as she takes the fencing sword from Jacques right at the end and it spins round. I don't know whether that was by accident or they, did that scene about 1,000 times to get that look, but Yeah, it was just really good. And, you know, you see a bit more of her skill. But you also get the sense, you know, Jacques is pretty nifty with a fencing sword as well.
Absolutely.
But he does underplay it as she's trying to prove to show that, you know, this guy does lie and could be lying about how his uncle got stabbed.
Yeah. Yep. I get the feeling this is going to be kind of the big reveal at the end is that the mum and Jacques are like kingpins of the underground.
Okay.
And they were involved in nefarious things, and the mother has been for years. And that's why she didn't mind the dad going, and that's why she's shocked. That's why she shacked up with Shock.
Right.
I like that joke, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. That's why we're on the same page.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like if that's the reveal, that's probably going to come next episode. Because that feels like a pretty straightforward premise to hang 6 episodes of a show on. So I think it's probably going to come pretty quick because Kate already suspects Jacques right now.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably going to find out that bit of the story next episode, and there'll be hopefully lots more story to go by the end of the season. But
hopefully,
but I thought it was a really interesting little fight between the two of them. Again, it's kind of Kate showing she can not only battle with words, she can also battle with swords as well. So
yes.
and her bow and arrow. So yes, she's pretty talented. Old Kate.
It's Jacques at the end that just the flick of the wrist, that disarms her.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one where you're like, oh,
yeah,
cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
The character in the comic books has lots and lots and lots of history. So it'd be interesting to see how much they play into this, how much they take.
Yeah.
And I suppose parts of this will be played out over the coming episodes, and depending on where this goes, I'm hesitant to give too much backstory of the comic book character because I want to see where this goes. If closer towards the end of the episode, we've seen they've wildly veered left or right, or they've kind of revealed a lot of it, we can give some comic book context in Chris's Corner later. But we need to be somewhat careful. We're 2 episodes in, so we don't want to inadvertently ruin anything for anyone.
I feel like they've probably just taken the mustache and swords, to be honest. I would be quite shocked if they took some of the storylines because they're quite intertwined with very much younger versions of the characters here.
Well, I for one can say I will not be ruining anything because I have no idea. So don't say a word, Chris.
I won't. I'll just twirl my mustache villainously.
Yes, Zorro.
I think that's it probably on our point number 2. And we've kind of spoiled our point number 3 because the point number 3 was really supposed to be about Clint and Kate getting captured by the Tracksuit Mafia and the big reveal of who the leader is. But we kind of spoiled that in the synopsis. But let's talk quickly about the capture of Clint and Kate. Chris, you already mentioned that he's using Natasha's catch and release technique, a technique that we saw used by Natasha in Avengers, where she's sitting in a room surrounded by Russians, pretending she can't speak Russian, learning every piece of information out of them. So he's using it again on this, on the Tracksuit Mafia, to get captured. He did get an old baseball bat to the stomach.
Oh yeah, it looks like it hurt.
So, yeah, but I like the little call out from Jeremy Renner, when he gets bundled into the back of the van. You just hear a little voice going, "I can see through the mask," which is a fun little gag. And of course, another fun little gag after Kate has kind of discovered what's happening and wants to share the information with Clint. She is able to get in contact with Clint and track his phone because of her mother's technology, because of Bishop's securities. She's able to track his phone and find out where he is. But we get a great moment where she's standing above and they're calling out Clint. They're trying to interrogate him, trying to find out where Kate Bishop is, and she falls in through the window.
That was great.
To the sounds of Ivan, who's the one who's been interrogating Clint, going, I found her. She falls through the floor. Very funny. Great timing.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
It was even better. It was just the additional, we're doing the gun things. Was I supposed to bring one?
Exactly.
It's like, again, it's just that fun. And like Clint going, can I speak to management? Like, I know, like, I feel like I'm just speaking to like,
Furniture.
the furniture here. Can I speak to someone in charge?
Yeah.
And it's just like, no, you look at us. You look at me. I mean, you look at us. All of us. All 5 of us.
Yeah, it was really good. I love that. And I love the, just the Russians taking offense, by Clinton talking about the state of the warehouse, and he just goes on that ramble about, do you know how difficult it is to get good warehouse space these days? They're all being bought up for new condos and conversions. So it's just like, classic.
Do you know, and that's a great call out, because when we used to watch the Defenders shows, the ones on Netflix, everybody had a warehouse. Every bad guy had a warehouse that you take them to. In comic books, it's really well known, but the kind of joke about it is all of those stories were written back in the 70s when Hell's Kitchen was a rundown area of the city, and there were loads of warehouses in the city, which you absolutely wouldn't be able to get in New York. You know, property is at an absolute premium in New York, so the chances of you getting these disused warehouses are so low. So a great little gag there about the state of New York now, because there was that kind of idea back in the Netflix days that, you know, Daredevil wouldn't have that kind of city to run around in that he had back in the 70s. So,
well, that's it. And the Luke Cage part on gentrification as well. Like,
yeah,
you know, so yeah, good stuff.
Exactly. I think that's it on our arrow points for the episode. Anything else that you want to call out from the episode, guys?
I just have one note, and that's in the first episode, Kate pulls out this tracking software, and I was like going, oh, hang on a second, you know, what's that about? But it is ultimately her mother's company's software, Bishop Securities. So that was just something that kind of got explained in this episode. So it was that was just one of the notes I kind of wanted to bring up.
Because it was kind of weird in the first episode. She tracks down Armand by going home, opening her phone, and running back out the door again. It's like, hang on a second. You need a little bit of hacker style typing on a computer, don't you? No, just needs to touch the phone, and she can track any phone in all of New York.
But that's it. The app looked like it would be from one of the Black Widows or from S.H.I.E.L.D. And I was like going, okay, what is going on here? You know, is she playing it sort of less competent in front of Clinton because she is already in something like S.H.I.E.L.D. or S.W.O.R.D. or whatever?
Yeah. I'm going to quote this episode from Hawkeye, John, and say, you can call him Clint if you'd like to. You don't have to give him his full title of Clinton. John's made up a longer version of his name for this
episode. Isn't that what us Brits do? Always make names longer.
Make names longer, exactly.
I'll quickly just add one that we missed and didn't call out in the very first episode. The tower was Stain Building.
Yes.
That was the college building. We can assume Obadiah Stane?
I presume it was family, yeah.
Yep, so I just said it was a nice call out, just Obadiah Stane from the Iron Man 1.
The first ever Iron Man, yes. That's a nice one. What we did get in this episode was what caused the hearing loss of Clint Barton.
Oh, that was good. That was a good montage.
Just done as a montage of explosions. Look, you know, he's a superhero with no superpowers, stuck in situations that even the ones with massive superpowers come out with injuries from. So, of course, it would make sense that he may lose his hearing from that. And finally, I just wanted to call out Eleanor's plan for Kate and what she has planned for the rest of her life. Like, Kate Bishop has been training at every single possible discipline. And it's not like, you know, and we'll send you off to the Olympics next year or something. Like, she's so talented and has won so many different awards for everything that she's done. And her mom's plan for is, you'll finish college and come working for me, close your eyes for a few years, and you'll realize that you're in the right place. It's like, how boring is that life?
Yeah.
No wonder she has problems with Eleanor.
Yeah.
But no wonder she has problems with Eleanor. Like,
absolutely.
That's not the greatest vision for your daughter that you could have imagined. I would definitely, if that was my daughter, I would definitely be putting her up for the Olympics without a doubt. She's won every single other medal. Why not get her onto the Olympic team?
she's aged out.
Very 22, Chris. What are you talking about? Aged out. She's got at least 15 more years to get into the Olympics.
Yeah, and it is something like archery. It's not the 100 meters.
That's true.
I'd say she could probably do that.
Just needs a steady hand.
Yep, she probably just needs a steady hand, and she's definitely got that. We've already seen that throughout this episode. That's it. That's probably it for our discussion about episode 2. Did this episode hit the mark? Chris, do you defend Hawkeye episode 2, Hide and Seek?
Oh, I see what you did there. Well done.
Well, you missed it in the first episode.
Exactly.
It was on target the first episode. This episode's hit the mark.
I really enjoyed this. It hit the mark for me for multitude of reasons. More the tone of the show, the what we can expect for the next couple of episodes has really much been settled, and it's kind of we understand the action now, the comedy, the timings, the delivery between the two Hawkeyes, or the one Hawkeye and the budding Hawkeye. So it really just kind of came together in a way that now I'm like, okay, I know what I'm getting, and I'm enjoying what you're giving me. I can see the great why they put two of them together. Again, obviously not just finishing Christmas week, but also just it really shows you. It sets up so many questions. And you're like, you want to know what the next 4 episodes. What is the story with Jack? Like, who did kill it? Where is Ronan's sword? Like, what's going to happen with Tracksuit Mafia? Who is the strange lady listening to music with her hand in front of the speaker? Mm-hmm. All of these types of things that you're going to go in and go, oh, cool, I want to know more. Like, give me it. So, overall, completely hit the mark. Bullseye as a package. Take me on to episode 3.
Excellent. How about you, John? Do you defend Hawkeye episode 2, Hide and Seek?
Yeah, I really do. I defend episode 2, Hide and Seek. I give it 4 crispy fire damage departments out of 5. Yeah, I loved the fact that for me it showed that dynamic, as Chris said. You know, this being a double header, having this second part really kind of. So it made me mellow out, because I loved the pitter patter, between Clint, and Kate. And, you know, from Kate dropping through the roof and the whole interrogation comedy, but just leading to that really kind of nice, sort of threatening view of Maya Lopez, as this mysterious, Echo, was really, really good. I loved the whole, LARP scene, with Grill, and I absolutely just thought that was so funny, so genuine. And again, just his Clint's relationship with Laura, his wife, it just felt refreshing to me. Like you say, they're totally has skin in the game with her husband, knows the business that he's in, and knows what the situation is. And I just thought that was superb. I think the battle, in the apartment, if only all our homes had space enough to do a fencing joust. Yeah,
push back the table. We'll do
exactly. We'll do it with cocktail sticks. But it was just, I really like that. It's a bit more intrigue. I'm still not entirely sure whether I'm there, but I'm kind of tending towards Eleanor, who's probably going to stab Jack in the back, to be honest. But I like the fact that Kate is she is like Pizza Dog with a pizza, she's got it for Jack. And I do like that he points it out. Is it because she was surprised by the engagement that it was dropped on her in that way, effectively told by Armand? So, there's a kind of a nice dynamic with Kate, and effectively, these two distant people of Jacques in particular, and the person who should be less distant but is with Eleanor. So I really do defend this episode. Give it 4 crispy crispy and crunchy, fire damaged apartments out of 5. And dare I say, I think, I would tend towards a more sympathetic 4 for the first one after seeing both of them together as well. Yeah.
Excellent. So an even higher score for the first episode.
Exactly. Look at me. Derek, did episode 2 of Hawkeye hit the mark?
Yes, it did. Absolutely. It was really good fun. Really enjoyed it. Right on the money for me, these 2 episodes. And I've just thought of another explanation. I wonder if Jacques accidentally killed Armand. Remember, he got the Ronin sword, which is a click of a button and the blade flips out. I've just solved it. Oops.
But I don't think he's as incompetent as he possibly makes out.
I would definitely cut my own fingers off if I had a
stab
sword
yourself.
You touch one button and it pops out. What if you're holding it the wrong way around? Not good. But no, I did really enjoy the episode. The banter between the 2 main characters, between Kate Bishop and Clint Barton, is just so much fun to watch on screen, and I'm hoping that we're going to get a lot more of that as the season rolls onwards. Good stuff. Let's go off to the pub. Get some nice refreshments after our discussions about the 2 episodes. We're heading into our pub quiz. John, do you have a pub quiz question for us?
I certainly do. Grab your fizzy, sparkling goodness for the Christmas sparkle, I guess, with your champagne or Prosecco, Carver, some kind of sparkling wine,
Lemonade.
Well, lemonade, if you will, or fizzy water, if you won't. But yes, fellow quizzers, fellow defenders, the question for episode 2 is, what is the number on the firefighter helmet that Clint is wearing?
Ooh, very good.
Yes, you can send in your answer to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, and you'll be in with a shout for the Hawkeye goodies that will be piercing their way through the atmosphere as we send them by arrow, of course, to the lucky person who has scored the most points on this pub quiz for Hawkeye. So just to repeat the question, what is the number on the firefighter helmet that Clint is wearing?
Absolutely. Send all your answers in to us by the end of the year, by the 31st of December, 2021, and you'll be in with a chance of winning those Hawkeye goodies.
Yes, but we would love to hear not just your answers, but also your feedback. You can email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com. You can join our Facebook page at facebook.com/tvpodcastindustries. Why not actually join the group there? Facebook.com/groups/tvpodcastindustries, where we do have spoiler posts for each and every episode. You can jump in. Not on Facebook. You want to talk to us on Twitter? No problem. We're there too at TV Pod Industries. We're even over on Instagram if you want to get all the grammed up and be down with the kids, and give us the real clicks and likes and all those things. I swear.
I don't think Instagram is for kids anymore.
No, I don't think so. Not anymore. We're not on TikTok. Sorry.
As soon as we went over to Instagram, they all moved on, I think.
Exactly. That's usually the way. Or if you want to hear your dulcet tones alongside ours, you can also record your thoughts in a voice message and email it to us at feedback@tvpodcastindustries, or even go over to the website where you can record us a voicemail, and that website is tvpodcastindustries.com. We have loads of feedback for this episode, so we'll kick it off with an email from the one and only Coffee and Vodka. Coffee and Vodka started by saying, "Greetings, holiday defenders." From minute 1, a tight story fitting within the MCU history, giving us the origin of Kate Bishop, complete with the prerequisite loss of her favourite parent. The title sequence provided a short and efficient montage of her training, and the bell tower scene was both humorous and effective in showing us her skill. Meanwhile, Clint, I'm too old for this. Barton couldn't be more ready to retire. I cringed right along with him as Cap sang about he could do this all day. The Tracksuit Mafia, the Draculas, are great comedic foils. Hard to square these seemingly incompetent bros with Maya Lopez's leadership. Hopefully this means a Kingpin appearance. So far it's hard to take the Swordman seriously, but we'll see if they manage to make him a real threat. With the capture of both them in the final scene, I was mostly concerned about who would feed Lucky. Although Bishop's fall from the skylight was a trope the TV show could have done without, I found the rest of it solid. And after watching The Eternals, a welcome return to the MCU formulaic structure. Finally, as they seem to have gone for that buddy cop theme, do you think they should have titled it something like Hawkeye and Bishop? Coffee and Vodka scores for episode 1 was 5 adjacent urinals out of 5. And episode 2 was 5 pizza dogs out of 5.
Yummy.
Peace and take care, Coffee and Vodka.
Yep, don't get those two scores mixed up.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I can see why they would call it Hawkeye and Bishop, and it feels like in the same way that, Falcon and Winter Soldier ended with it becoming Captain America and Winter Soldier at the end of the season. You wonder whether by the end of the season, having known Bishop, or Kate Bishop, by the end of the season, potentially, you could call it Hawkeye and Bishop. But, nobody would have known who Kate Bishop was. She hadn't been introduced to the universe. So, and potentially by the end of the season, she will be Hawkeye. So, it would make sense if it just had the Hawkeye story.
I think also if they just call it Hawkeyes, because in the comic book, as part of the run, later on in the run, it becomes Hawkeyes. Which makes sense. They'll just add an S on.
Exactly.
Kind of like it'll be the logo. There'll be a sign with an S of something.
Or that season.
All the letters go out, and it'll just be Hawkeye.
Yeah.
I agree with a lot of the stuff. I'm happy to be back in the, as you put it, formulaic MCU structures.
See, I hate formulaic MCU. That's what bores me. I'm really glad they're doing what they want to do here with a buddy cop show. Like, it is different. We haven't had a buddy cop show. MCU and the Eternals was fantastic. We all really enjoyed the Eternals, the three of us, when we went to see it in the cinema. So I'm glad that the MCU can turn their hand to whatever they want to turn their hand to. That's probably what I'd say. Anyway, thanks so much for your feedback, Coffee Vodka. Over on Facebook, we had some feedback from Ronaldo from Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast, who says, just watched both episodes and already I think Steinfeld is perfectly cast. Great intro and a bit of intrigue with Kate's mom and new fiance. Comic fans know. But really loved the intro with a young Kate and got chills as she watched Hawkeye do that backflip from 2012. For those that have followed all the MCU films, it felt as if we were ourselves reliving that moment when we first watched Avengers Assemble. Really great stuff. Kate is so likable, and I liken her to kind of like Scott Lang, in that they just seemed like really nice people, very affable. Lucky the dog. Oh, stop it. Such an adorable dog. And set at Christmas, the tension of Clint making it home for his kids is a great tension builder. Tracksuit Mafia. Love them in the Fraction run. Love them here. I've quickly latched onto this show, and it didn't take long at all to get immersed in the tone and fun of it. Stands out for me would definitely be the NYC LARP session and the innocent fun that Grills had in killing Clint. Hope Clint realizes soon that plenty of people revere and appreciate what he and the Avengers did. The chat with Kate about how he was an inspiration for her was touching too. Other great moments were the fencing between Kate and Jack. Kate managed to find a crack in his armor, but of course Kate's mom would have none of it. Final big moment was the reveal of Echo as the main boss. She looks great and menacing. Can't wait to see how she develops into a character in her own show. So you probably can tell I'm loving this show at the moment. We are only just about to start seeing the two Archers team up, and I can't wait. Steinfeld's quirks and acting chops are so damn impressive, and Renner plays the grizzled hero so well. Oh, and yes, the hearing aid. Such a great thing to see in a show as both a callback to the comics and the fact that all that fighting, well, it makes sense that Clint would have come away with some damage. Can't wait for episode 3. Thanks so much, Ray.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ray. It's completely with you. I think the adorable dog, I really hope it swallowed the watch, because I want to see this trio as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so...
I was going to say the one thing I would complain about our podcast is that we don't have enough adorable dogs on here.
It's true. Yeah, we are two households of cats.
Yeah, we do have our podcats at least.
Yes,
that is true.
But thanks so much, Ray. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It is just that fun show to get us through till the Christmas period, isn't it?
Exactly.
We have some more feedback from Deanna Debreen Maskell. She says, this was a great holiday watch while our turkey was in the oven. May become an annual event. I loved the chemistry and the humour. Enjoyed the Tracksuit Mafia, although I was so worried about the role-playing thief. Apparently the Mafia isn't on Instagram. I also loved that Clint complained about work grind previously, so his wife's response to the mafia was just, not those guys. The only note I'm not sure about was the mom-stepdad plot. Hope it pays off, because I was mostly bored by that. Thanks so much, Deanna. Yeah, I can get your kind of your vibe actually about the mom and stepdad plot. I feel like it's really quite transparent what that might be all about, to be honest. But
yeah,
as you say, maybe it will pay off. And I guess with the more ominous Echo, and then there is a different kind of element here being brought in or connected to the Eleanor and Jack's story as well.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get the traditional TV podcast industry's twist, where we think something's going to happen and then it doesn't at all.
Yeah, well, we get it entirely wrong. But thanks so much, Deanna. Donald Dennis says, it was good, but it is my least favorite Marvel MCU series to date.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean, and fair enough. As I say, I guess I took a while to warm to it, and again, it depends whether this is in your kind of wheelhouse. You know, it may not be,
or
so
else it may just build up as the episodes go on. You never know.
Well, that is true. Who knows? Who knows? But thanks, Donald.
Thanks, Donald. Jeff Childs says, I have my Halloween costume for next year already. There were 6 of us watching this episode of Hawkeye. We are going to wear tracksuits and say bro a lot. Tracksuit mafia for the win.
Excellent stuff. Thanks, Jeff. Over on email, we got some feedback from Victor Von Doom. Victor says, greetings, Derek, John, Chris, and fellow defenders. This series has already replaced Die Hard as my favourite Christmas action thriller. Ooh, that is a very big claim. Yeah, well, you must be certain, Victor, for sure on that. So we'll definitely roll with it. Victor continues, I like the concept of the story progressing towards Christmas Day. Will Hawkeye make it home by then?
6 days to go.
Exactly. I especially enjoyed the scene of Hawkeye and his family at the theatre. He complained Ant-Man wasn't even there, but actually he was in the comics.
Ooh, yes.
Haley Steinfeld is killing it as Kate. She and Jeremy Renner really play well off each other. Definitely, completely agree with you there. I'm loving their dynamic. Victor says, I would like to see Kate and Shang-Chi hook up.
Interesting.
That would be a good hookup, I think. Yeah, that could really work. I shuddered at the appearance of Tony Dalton as Jack. The Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul has stood up on the back of my neck. Warning. Ooh. I haven't anticipated Christmas this much since childhood. As always, looking forward to your podcasts and Defenders feedback. Excelsior, Victor Von Doom. Really, thanks so much, Victor, for the feedback. Yeah, I never really got into Breaking Bad, and I haven't watched Better Call Saul. So, the character of Jack and Tony Dalton, who plays him, I don't really know. So that is it a spoiler almost, Victor, about with the warning signs? But certainly we know that he is is at least at a certain level swordsman. However, that plays out, whether it's just the name tag or a bit more than that.
Yeah, he's certainly hiding his identity, and in that kind of moment with the fencing bit with Kate, certainly his true self came out for a second there, and I'm sure we'll see more of that in future. The way he's kind of pandering to Eleanor throughout the last couple of episodes doesn't feel like the massive villain of the show, but I feel like we're going to see a very different version of Jock by the end of the season, or Jack by the end of the season.
Well, that's it. And his moustache is very, very distracting.
It is, yes.
It really is.
Even in Movember, that moustache was very
well,
distracting.
That's it. It certainly is going against trend, I would say.
Well, as I say, a trend for Movember. But by December, he'll want to have shaved it off.
Well, yes, hopefully. And Victor, thanks so much. I'm really glad you're looking forward to the podcast. As always, we really appreciate and look forward to getting your thoughts on the episodes with your feedback. So thanks so much, Victor.
Thanks, Victor. Finally, we have some feedback from Brandy Lise Anderson, who says, I have to say, I hope they don't do any post-credit scenes until the last episode of this season. The shows haven't really been utilizing them correctly. Falcon and Winter Soldier was by far the best. WandaVision's felt unnecessary, except the finale, and Loki's felt like a bit of a cop-out. They really could have had us sweating for a week, and the payout would have been so much better. And I don't even count Loki's finale with that final scene. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? They have the opportunity to do a post-credit scene on every single episode, but it feels like Marvel know they're torturing people enough by putting an episode on every week that they want to give you extra torture, you know? So they give you a moment like Echo before the credits, so you don't have to worry about it, right?
That's
definitely.
Thanks so much to everybody who sent us in feedback. Again, as Chris mentioned, you can email us to feedback@TV Podcast Industries with any of your thoughts, or go over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/TV Podcast Industries. This is just the beginning of the Hawkeye podcast on TV Podcast Industries. We'll be back next week to discuss episode 3 of Hawkeye, but we'll also be back on TV Podcast Industries later this week at 5 p.m. GMT on Saturday, in fact, to discuss The Wheel of Time, episode 4, Dragon Reborn.
It is good. It is good to be me right now. Marvel and Wheel of Time in 1 week.
Definitely.
It does mean a lot of podcasting, but you know what? It's worth it.
Definitely. It is really good to have Marvel back up on Disney Plus with Hawkeye, and it's great to see The Wheel of Time on Prime, for sure. Yeah. And they may be bringing us Mass Effect, which will be amazing. It'll be so good. But thanks so much for joining us, fellow Defenders. We'll, of course, be back next week with our array of podcasts. It is a pleasure speaking with you, as always, about all things Marvel, all things Hawkeye. And remember, keep watching, keep listening, and keep defending.
Bye.
Bye.